Hello. Usually my videos have like a lot of planning and research put into them and they've got like a narrative structure and things, but this isn't going to have any of that. But I've had this idea on my video ideas list for way too long now, but it's not even really an idea. It's just a list of all of the weirdest stones that I could find in London. And I don't really know what to do with that, but we're getting towards the end of the year now. I want to cross it off. I want this thing off my list. So if you'll indulge, we're just going to go for a walk and we're going to see some of the weirdest stones that I could find in London. And the first one is right here. So this is our first stone. It's called the Stone of Free Speech. Why is it called that? Apparently it's been here for like 200 years and it has something to do with free speech. It's called the Stone of Free Speech. Not sure why it's called that. Not sure what's up with it. This is going to be a bit of a common theme with some of these stones. We don't really know what the hell's going on with them. There's some websites online that claim, yeah, it's a place where maybe like rallies used to be held or political gatherings or something like that. But the most interesting thing about it for me is that it has a big old Ordnance Survey benchmark on it. Oh, it's like as tall as me. Proper like tall stone. They weren't messing around. All right, well, that's our first stone, and we better get moving if we want to see the next one, because we've got a few stones on my list, and the sun sets pretty early at this point in the year, so would have been better to have done this in summer, but oh well. All right, let's say goodbye to the Stone of Free Speech. Bye bye there, and let's continue on our journey. This stone is so weird that they named the tube station after it. Well, technically, I think the area is named after the stone, and then the tube station is named after the area. But anyway, I might be going the wrong way. I'll tell you one thing before we see this stone. It's listed. It's a listed stone, you know, like how there's listed buildings. So this is a protected stone. And here it is. Here we go. The stone itself. So this is the Weald stone. It's been around for about 500 years. Moved around a little bit, been in a few different spots, but it's been in this spot since 1934. Doesn't seem like the kind of thing you would name a whole area after these days, but apparently they did. Not sure why. But there we go. So that is the Weald stone. I wonder if this is the smallest thing to be officially listed, because usually it's like buildings and manor houses and stuff, not just a little stone. Anyway, I need to get out of here because it's pretty windy. Just realised we can cross another stone off the list because we don't know where it is or if it like exists still. But Brixton is named after a stone, Brickstone. But no one knows what stone that is or where it was or where it is now, so no point visiting that. Right, I'm now in central London, as you can clearly see. I feel like it is in the early stages of starting to get dark, so I'm gonna get a move on if you want to see these stones. This video feels like the inversion of the one that I did about London's missing river, because that one, first of all, that was very planned out and very researched. This one kind of isn't. And that one was on one of the hottest days of the year, and it was really hot, and I had to keep sheltering in air-conditioned cafes and stuff, whereas this time, very much the opposite. Well, it's where the internet lives. Okay, so this stone is going to be a little bit difficult to show you. This area now is kind of called Marble Arch, named after the Marble Arch. But back in the day, it used to be called Ossulstone, and it was named after the Ossulstone, which was a stone that was around here somewhere. It was there for like thousands of years. We think it might have been there since like Roman times, so maybe like 2,000 years, something like that. There's accounts of it in the 1860s, I think it was last seen. Apparently it was seen leaning against the Marble Arch. And then it kind of just disappeared. There's an account of someone trying to track it down a few decades later. Apparently they were told it's been moved to the yard and it's out of the way now or something like that. And we haven't seen it since. So where's the stone gone? Where is the Ossulstone? If you have it in your back garden, please write in. It's been a few hundred years, we're getting worried. Marble Arch is quite cool though. But from a stone that doesn't actually exist now, we're going to just quickly jump literally across the road, check out a stone that I don't really know if it counts as a stone. Well, here it is. Does this count as a stone? What do you think? So this is a stone that marks the location of something called the Tyburn tree, which is basically a massive gallows where they used to execute people. Loads of people used to gather around. They didn't have YouTube back then, so people would come out and watch these executions happening, just I guess for entertainment. It's a big spectacle. I'm assuming that these chairs are here as some kind of like commemoration or something to do with that, because they're bolted into the ground. This is not the cheeriest stone on our list. Anyway, I think there's only one more stone left now, so if we can go and see that one, then we'll properly have crossed off all the stones on my list and can finally move on with my life. Alright, so the final stone might also be my favourite stone. It's also probably the most famous one. It's just in that little glass case over there. The reason it's my favourite is because this is a very important stone, but we don't know why. Basically, you can go back in maps from like hundreds and hundreds of years ago, and this stone has been marked on there, but no one thought to make a note of like what's so special about it, so we don't actually know. I think this is just the funniest one for me because like it's got this whole enclosure around it, we're taking care of it, protecting it from the elements, but then you read the thing and it's just like, it's a stone. Anyway, it is well and truly getting dark, and that's the end of my stone quest. I can now finally cross these stones off my list. I don't have to try and think about what to do with them anymore. I'm sure there are some interesting stones that I missed, so you can let me know. So I'm going to go somewhere warm now, and I'm going to put my feet up and reflect on the weirdest stones in London. It's always funny when you're walking on a day like this and it's like pretty cold. You've got like scarf and jacket and everything, and then you just see like that one person in shorts. You're just like, what? Where are you watching this from right now? Are you warm? I'm not.